ईश्वरो गुरु आत्मेति मूर्ति भेद विभागिने व्योम वद व्याप्त देहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. The one who dispels my doubt and clarifies to me that the Guru is as subtle as ether, God is as subtle as ether, and reveals the trinity of God, Guru, and Atma. I bow to that Dakshinamurti. That's the shloka. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guru is Brahma, Guru is Vishnu, Guru is Shiva, the destroyer. He is the Parabrahma, the supreme God of absolute truth. With this knowledge, this clarity, I bow to the Guru. So, as we all had talked one time, we start our life as a religious person because of the family I'm born into. Gives me an identification with a particular religion. My parents follow that religion, and so I follow that religion. And there are many other sanskaric things that I assimilate with and imbibe in my life because of what my parents practice or what my family predominantly practices. And then comes a time, depending upon my own personal maturity, spiritual maturity, that it begins to reveal to me or begins to clarify in my own mind that if I'm really spiritual, if I'm really a good bhakta, it begins to clarify that I am not limited to a religion. I'm not bound by the definitions and the ritualistic dogmas of any particular religion. That knowledge begins to dawn on me if I am a true bhakta. It doesn't dawn on everybody that we're talking about that the Guru or the God is not outside of me. That is the first grace. Are you all with me so far? That is the first grace, that God is not separate from me. God is not in a physical form. My Guru, who represents that God, is in a physical form, but he also understands that he is the self still going through his prarabdha to walk through the motions of this particular life. And then I also begin to see myself as the ultimate self, and yet limited because of the prarabdha. That clarity begins to open up for me that I myself am going through the limitations of my own prarabdha. And therefore, I think I'm not the self, I'm not the Guru, I'm not the God. That is the first grace. Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi always told people when they asked whether Guru is necessary or not, and I've selected some talks to read out, so that he always said, who is the self? To whom is the question? Whom are you seeking? Why are you looking for a Guru? Or why are you looking for an Ishtadevta? And no doubt he clarified all that Bandhu just now said, that yes, you could have an Ishtadevta. And from our standpoint, from practical standpoint of mortals like all of us, it's good to have an Ishtadevta. Very good to have an Ishtadevta, and equally good to have a Guru. But again, let's develop enough viveka to know who is a real Guru. Don't be too impressed quickly by somebody who's very popular, very big. Watch them closely. As Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say, before you accept me as your Guru, remember to watch the Guru. Guru ko din mein dekho, raat mein dekho, Guru ko dekho. Uske baad dekho ki Guru Guru hai ki nahi. This was Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say, in Bengali, no doubt. This is a very loose translation in Hindi. And who tested him out? Narendra. Who was Narendra? Narendra was Vivekananda, as you all know. What did Vivekananda do? Ramakrishna Paramahansa could not touch money. This was a known fact. And Ramakrishna says we should test our Guru. So what did he do? One day, he quietly went into his room and put coins under his chatai, under his mat, and waited outside the room, stealthily, quietly sat there. Ramakrishna Paramahansa came to retire, and when he lied down, after some time, he felt uncomfortable. So he kept moving left and right, shifting. He couldn't figure out. And then suddenly Ramakrishna Paramahansa gets up and pulls his chatai, his mat, from the floor. And there he sees all the coins. And he says, aha, this in Bengali, look, somebody has put taka here. That's when Vivekananda, Narendra, walks into the room, prostrates, and said, my apologies, my folly, I did that. But I only was following your instructions that I should check you out because I had heard you cannot touch money. Now I know. So Ramana Maharshi used to always say, you should be clear as to whether you need a guru or not, whether you have an Ishtadevta or do you need an Ishtadevta or not. And here are a couple of talks that I have. Professor Sayed talk. This is a talk from October of 1936. Professor Sayed was a professor of philosophy at Allahabad University or Banaras, one of those two universities. He used to come to Bhagwan very frequently. He used to stay at rented a place in the town, also in Tiruvannamalai, and used to ask very pertinent questions. He was a very learned man. And he asks, Dr. Sayed, how is grace to be obtained? Maharshi, similar to obtaining the self. The question was, how is grace to be obtained? And Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, similar to obtaining the self. Dr. Sayed, practically, how is to be for us? Practically, how is it to be for us? Bhagwan, by self-surrender. Devotee, Dr. Sayed, grace was said to be the self. You had told us grace is the self. Should I then surrender to my own self? Maharshi, yes. To the one from whom grace is sought, God, Guru, and self are only different forms of the same. Dr. Sayed, please explain so that I may understand. Bhagavan, so long as you think you are the individual, you believe in God. On worshipping God, God appears to you as Guru. On serving Guru, he manifests as the self. This is the rationale. How grace dawns on us. So this is a very direct dialogue here, which talks about the question we have raised, how to obtain grace. And if we read between the lines, if we worship the Guru, he says, on worshipping God, God appears to you as Guru. On serving Guru, selflessly. Selflessly is though it is not written here, but I'm adding from Updeshara, the verse that Bhagavan has written about selfless service. If your service to your Guru or to everybody for that matter is selfless, then the grace really dawns on us. So he says, Guru, he manifests as the self. This is the rationale. So self is within me, but I'm impure, and therefore self is covered. I'm impure. That's why I see my Guru is different from me. I'm impure. That's why I think my God is somewhere up there in the skies. But he's not. He's all within me. So grace begins when I become pure. When I'm unalloyed. When I am untainted. when I don't have any major agendas, when my actions are selfless, when I begin to see others as myself, when I begin to extend my time, my effort, my money for the sake of others, I have become selfless. And yet, I'm not 100% selfless, but I begin to become selfless. And when I begin to become selfless, then God really walks towards me. Then the doubts about me being not the self, or my guru being the one who has to explain everything to me, or my God, who is my God, and should I go to this God or that God? All that comes to rest. All that becomes quiet. All that becomes reposed in the self that resides within me. And then pops the question, so will the world change for me? Nay, no, nothing is going to change. Your world, your activity, your daily life, your going, your coming, your success, your failure, your tribulations, your arguments, your lies, your jealousies, your attachment to money, attachment to everything about me, all that will continue because all those actions are connected with the body, the product of the body. But my perception of what is happening would have changed, and things would not affect me as much. And that shall be grace. When I'm unaffected by what my life is going through, instead of saying I am going through, it changes to mean my life is going through this. I'm witnessing it. I'm just watching what my life is going through. I cannot change it. I cannot control it. It is already destined. That is grace. That is grace. And it can be felt. And it will be felt for those of us who become selfless. Those of us who purify ourselves rather than purifying anybody else.